and bring beer and wine and musicians to the people. After Mussolini was removed from his veto, the country knew that it was better to party with Lucky than to attempt any serious political organizing. It had been a great and heady time, and one that had shaped the destiny of the free West. Just after World War II, Lucky cut the CIA in on the lucrative narcotics market in Southeast Asia, and Turkey too. Working closely with Ho Chi Minh, who later did some backsliding and became the greatest communist rebel in Southeast Asia, Lucky was good at raising drug money in the Third World, better than Noriega, and Third World and beyond, and his activities provided enough black market revenue in the United States to initiate the NASA space program. Al Malucci's father told his expatriate son wild stories about Lucky's parties and the strange characters that would congregate in Lucky's villa in Palermo. There were tribal chieftains from Laos who would bring base morphine from them and tell stories about the jungle and the deities who ruled over the fields, the flowers, the sun and the moon. There were ex-Nazi military men and scientists engaged in earnest conversation with CIA operatives, NASA officials, and petty bookmakers. There were gun-toting malls and glamorous movie stars. And then there were the outright madmen who were administered large doses of a new drug developed in Switzerland in the 30s and known as lysergic acid. Sometimes the parties would last for days and would feature the antics of these madmen. The acid eaters, as they were known, could be persuaded to attempt to fly and walk through flames while reading Ezra Pound. What a great fighting unit such a group of acid-addled cadets would make. The CIA was interested in them, but Lucky was even more interested, and far more intelligent than the bumbling U.S. spy boys he kept around for laughs. Lucky organized his famous secret society around an ever-growing stable of lunatics he kept on LSD. The acid eaters took over every center for drug production on the globe within months. Since LSD had been developed in Switzerland, and not many were that's tested in concentration camps, Lucky snuck in German psychiatrists, doctors, and war criminals into Italy in the late 40s to keep his army of lunatics in line. In fact, every lunatic asylum in Italy became an outpost of the secret society. The locked wards contained stockpiled weapons, illicit drugs, and strange maps and charts. The lunatics were given generous helpings of acid and sent out on missions all over the world. Most people remained unaware of the powers wielded by the insane and would snicker when passing some addled madman wearing an overcoat and roasting meat out on the streets of Rome in 90-degree weather. But some people knew and tipped their hats or smartly saluted and went on their way with a smile and a little laugh. The secret society was protecting them, and they knew they had nothing to fear under the stewardship of the deranged. Post-war Italy was certainly more politically advanced than the United States. With a secret society in place by the mid-50s, Lucky was the most powerful man in the world, and he formed an alliance with the industrial military, the CIA, and the scientific community in the States. He had a lot to share with them. Only Charles Manson, Lieutenant Charlie, and Jim Jones would ever reserve as much control over their disciples via the use of acid as Lucky wielded over his after World War II. For the most part, Lucky cooperated with the CIA in bringing Nazi scientists into the States. He struck deals with U.S. power brokers to ensure a secret society in place in America. At the same time, he was able to woo American politicos and the American jet set with a very special club that would later give Hugh Hefner some ideas. Lucky's after-hours club in Milan was at once more decadent and intellectual than any other in Europe. The ladies of the night there read works of literature with the guests, and many was the time that Sophia Loren would read Lady Chatterley's Lover with Joseph Kennedy, or the Manchurian Candidate with young Frank Sinatra. Later on, John Kennedy would drop in to visit the young ladies to read Huxley's Doors of Perception with them. Lucky's den of forbidden knowledge, music, and sex was the smash hit of an otherwise repressive decade. The party atmosphere grew more sober for a brief period after a madhouse in Sicily exploded in '54. The 10 tons of TNT and nitroglycerin stored inside made for a colorful and lethal blast. Most Italian insane asylums were by that time locked fortresses used for the laundering of money and the storing of imported and domestic firearms. The doctors, nurses, and attendants who escaped the '54 blast fled into the U.S. with the intention of spilling the beans to an eager world press. But they were hastily institutionalized and summarily given lobotomies. Close call, though it was. Lucky smiled on it all. He was the uncrowned king of post-war democracy. The symbol of the straitjacket is more important to the Western world than the cross, he said to a bishop one night in Rome after slipping with tab of acid. Even the Pope knows that. Ask him. Cambridge City Councilman Alfred E. Bellucci, standing tall in Harvard Square in his bad lady costume, was proud of his knowledge of the secret society. Once his family had helped Lucky's Asselitos beat up a communist guerrilla gang who had been trying to break into a Palermo madhouse in 1956. The secret society still existed. Lucky had exported it to the U.S., where it was, literally, given asylum. After Lucky had given John Kennedy the 60 election, set him up with a supply of LSD, helped him get NASA off the ground, and funnel billions in drug money into the CIA, JFK helped Lucky set up a money laundering machine and a drug ring involving lunatic asylums all over the U.S. Bellucci grinned broadly. Ever since 1960, the secret society was at the bottom of everything. Like Uncle Al, you just had to know where to look. In lunatic asylums and out on the streets. The University Park Development Project and the Star Wars research base that was housed there were simply the most recent outgrowths of the secret society. Everything had grown out of Lucky's asylums, where German scientists, psychiatrists, psychopaths, doctors, and military men had first taken refuge after World War II, before being secretly ushered into the U.S. military complex and the space program. Most now work on SDI. All of the lunatic characters, Bellucci looked forward to some small segment of his family coming home to Cambridge. But he was worried about the local lunatics. They might already have become aware of the big picture and of their role in it. This had always been the danger of the secret society, that the pawns would shake off their madness for true paranoia and play a decisive role in the affairs of state. Being a man of the people, like Machiavelli, Bellucci could only hope this would never come to pass. So he took the little poster down off the lamppost, put it in his pocket, and kept walking through the square. Desolate angels. If there was a secret club in Harvard Square, if the madmen were organizing, if the street cats were getting together, Alfred E. Bellucci would infiltrate. Although he was getting a slight head cold, he felt confident of his powers of investigation. Because a true man of the people could uncover anything.